issue. Welcome to trustees, to staff, to students, and to members of the public. This is an important meeting of the board. It is a ceremonial meeting. It is the meeting that the board elects its chair, its vice chair, as well as its members of committee. So if you are joining us online, we're very pleased to welcome you this evening and to be hearing directly from trustees and their vision for the year ahead. We will begin with the acknowledgement of the traditional lands, followed by the playing of the national anthem. I ask you to please stand. We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Miigwech. Routine procedure. I draw our attention to agenda item number 2, which is to approve the election procedure. The procedure used in the past years is shown as option 1 of your agenda, and an alternate method involving a recorded vote is shown as option 2 on page 2. May I have trustee be considering option 1 or option 2 and indicate a motion for one of those options? Trustee Patel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I move a motion to have option 1?
Thank you, Trustee Patel. Is there a seconder for proceeding with option 2? Thank you, Trustee Arts. Oh, sorry, option 1. Thank you, Trustee Arts. Are there any objections to option 1? We can certainly ask for a vote for proceeding with option 1. All those in favor? All those against? That motion is carried. We will be proceeding with option 1. We can proceed to agenda item 3 and accept nominations for the position of chair of the board. Given that the candidates may make a speech, I'm going to be asking the nominator please to just make brief remarks so that the speakers may have additional time. Could I have a motion to be nominating a trustee for chair? Trustee King?
Thank you. I'll be moving to nominate Trustee Shan for the position of chair.
Pardon me?
We're nominating.
Nominating. Thank you very much. Is that seconded by a trustee? Oh, sorry, my apologies, not seconder for consideration. Is there another nomination for chair? Trustee Hastings?
Thank you, Trustee Hastings, but thankfully I deny.
Thank you, Trustee Patel. Is there another nomination for chair of the board? Trustee Laskin?
I move nominations be closed.
Thank you. Before I close nominations, I would just like to ask Trustee Shan if he accepts the nomination for chair of the board. Thank you, Trustee Shan. Just following appropriate process, is there a nomination to close nominations? Thank you very much, Trustee Laskin, and a seconder. Trustee Arts, thank you. All those in favor for closing nominations, and Trustee Shan, you are acclaimed as chair. Congratulations. And at this time, I welcome to Chair Shan, who has been acclaimed, to address the board as chair. Yeah. Sure.
Yes, I'll start. Thank you, everyone, for your trust and faith. I don't know what to make of the acclamation, but I'll take it. It happened with the vice chair, too, so I hope I'm not intimidating or anything, but I really honor the opportunity to continue to serve the board. I was fortunate to be in vice chair role, supporting former chair, Trustee Jonas Lin, and I think we did generally a good job, and we'll continue to build on that because it was a new term for all of us. But now I think we know each other well. Despite our differences of opinion, we are getting along much better as we move into the next half of the year because we have a lot more to do together in facing external challenges than to face challenges from within. So it's important for us to build this together and go forward. So thank you again for all the trust and the faith that you have put in me to take this leadership position. I'll just mention that I hope, some of the things I wanted to mention in the speech was longer, but and thank you, Trustee King, for preparing to make a speech for nomination, and you won't get to. But I just want to say that, some of my priorities would be to, there's a review that happened around trustee services and how we support each other, how we support trustee services from a staffing point of view. There's a number of recommendations that are coming forward. I hope to implement that in the coming year. I know many of you are very concerned about our relationships with the Elder Council and the Truth and Reconciliation Commitment, and that's something I want to take a stronger active interest and pursue that. We have hired a communications person for trustee services. Nick is there as well. Welcome. So we will be working more closely to advance more communication support, and then I think in terms of issues, there's no issue that unites us all outside people and culture related concerns that we all have. And the staff are working hard, but we need to find a way to make sure all of our energies are in the right direction to make sure that we address this crisis that's happening everywhere, but also how do we make sure that we have local solutions for this. So these are some of the things that I've heard from you. And finally, I do think that each of us have come to this board with a couple of passions that we really want to move forward. So I want to have individual conversation with you to see what are those two things that you have in your mind that resonates with our mandate and our multi-year strategic plan, and let's figure out a way to give that legacy for each of us as we complete the term in 2 years. So I want to help with that direction as well. So thank you. I'll stop with that and appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve in this role. Thank you. All right, now to the next item. We're going to proceed to Item number 3, oh no, accept the nomination. We did that? Okay, we'll move on to the nomination for the position of vice chair of the board. Trustee Dawson?
I would like to nominate
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
I'm a bit unprepared, as you know, I wasn't taking anything for granted. Given the candidates may make a speech, I will permit a nominator to make brief remarks only. Thank you. I want to first ask for nomination, and then we'll have the speeches. So first, go ahead, Trustee Dawson.
I would like to nominate Trustee Williams for the position of Vice Chair.
Thank you. Trustee Williams, do you accept the nomination?
Thank you to the nominator. Yes, Mr. Chair, I do accept the nomination.
Okay, thank you. We will see if there's any more nominations for vice chair. Trustee Hastings? Trustee Patel? Trustee Patel, do you accept the nomination for vice chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do accept the nomination.
Okay, thank you. Now to the nominators, is there any other nomination for vice chair? Okay. Do we close the nomination and then have the speeches? Okay, we will now move on to speeches yeah, that's what I thought. We should close. Okay, we will close the nominations before the speeches. So there are two nominations, Trustee Williams and Trustee Patel. And we have a mover to close the nomination, Trustee Laskin, seconded by Trustee Arts. All those in favor of closing the nominations? Okay, thank you. Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Now we move on the reverse direction for speeches. So we'll go to Trustee Hastings if you would like to make any remarks for vice chair, introducing the vice chair candidate that you nominated.
Now, this is somebody that I've known to have a level head.
Yeah.
My apologies. I've known this person to have a level head and a very wise tongue. And that's all I'd like to say on the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Hastings. Trustee Patel, you can make your speech now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Trustee Hastings, for nominating me for Vice Chair. As you all know, this is my 6th year as a trustee at the board, and I have served on various committees. I have been Vice Chair of Finance and Budget. I have been Chair at Finance and Budget. I have served various committees, and often I have been questioned what I do at the board, or I'm too busy. But I can proudly say that I have done 191 suspension and expulsion hearings in 6 years, minus 2 years of pandemic. That's a commitment I have for this board. And I have served as the chair of those committees in various forms and shape. We are going through challenging times at the board. We are divided on many issues. And I think, as a strong leader, I have that qualities to unite all of us, to support the chair on all his ambitions, which can take this board to the next level. Saying all this, I'm asking each and every one of you to vote for strong leadership, which the board requires, to vote for somebody who believes in accountability, to somebody who believes in transparency, to somebody who is not afraid of addressing an issue. And that's what we all are here for. We all came here for the same reason, for accountability and transparency. I'm here to provide that. I request all my trustee friends, colleagues, please vote for me as a vice chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Patel. Now we move on to the nominator for the next nominee, Trustee Dawson.
Thank you. I've known Trustee Williams for several years now as an active parent in the system prior to becoming a trustee. I think it's really, really important that she has that perspective as a parent in this role, and she really is bringing her full self to the role. I do my best to attend every committee meeting. She attends every committee meeting solidly. And I think that's really important. She has already shown a commitment to being where she needs to be at all times. I also do think it's quite important to have a balanced perspective between the chair and vice chair. I think it's very critical, actually, to have representation from different parts of the city. And Trustee Williams representing downtown, and while Trustee Shan's representing Scarborough, I do think that that is very complementary. And when we think of who is sitting at the executive council table representing us, it's those two trustees. So we need to make sure that there's a citywide perspective at that executive council table. I have seen Trustee Williams make herself available to me in bouncing off ideas. She has always provided a measured and calm and thoughtful perspective. And that has really served us well on the PSSC committee this year. She did an excellent job chairing in some really, really difficult situations and maintaining a neutrality that I really respect. So I do feel, for all the reasons I've mentioned and many more, that Trustee Williams is the candidate to vote for Vice Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Dawson. Trustee Williams, you can make your speech now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to Trustee Dawson for the nomination and the kind words. Dear colleagues, it was after long and thoughtful reflection that I've decided to step forward as a candidate to serve as your vice chair. And I'm going to start with the why. Why do I want to be your vice chair? First and foremost, I believe in high quality education. I believe that every student has a right to reach their full potential. Over the past 2 years, I've shown my dedication and abilities, actively assisting both the chair and acting chair. I've demonstrated my strong work ethic through my role as chair of PSSC, collaborated with CACs, and worked with colleagues and staff on various motions and initiatives. I've demonstrated my ability to preside over board meetings, ensuring they run smoothly, are productive, and follow procedural rules, including facilitating discussions, managing time, and keeping discussions focused on the agenda. My work as your vice chair would allow me to serve with leadership in our effective governance of this board, to contribute significantly to our work in shaping policies and impactful decisions as we continue to implement our multi-year strategic plan. I will work collaboratively and strategically with our chair, our director, our senior staff, and external stakeholders to advance our educational priorities, advocate for the provincial funding needed to support this board and its work and our students, and bring forward policies and initiatives that benefit all students, educators, and our communities. So, my dear colleagues, I ask for your support and your vote to serve you and our board as vice chair.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Are there any questions to any of the candidates from any trustees? Okay, seeing no questions, staff will help to keep a list. Oh, no. Seeing no further questions, we can now proceed to vote. Senior Manager Joseph Dawes will distribute the ballots. Please cast a vote for one of the following trustees. You see Trustee Williams and Trustee Patel's names will be there. So you will have to put an X beside one of their names. do not make any other mark on the ballot. And those who are online, please email your vote ballot to both Denise Joseph Dowers as well as Jennifer Saville. The ones that are not here, the ones online. Those trustees who are online will be emailing those votes to both Ms. Denise Joseph Dowers as well as Ms. Jennifer Saville. No, not for student trustees. Oh, that's me. Is anybody missing a ballot? Oh, this one there. Okay. Okay. Thank you. We got the ballots, and those who are online, please email your votes to Ms. Denise Joseph Dowers as well as Ms. Jennifer Saville. The meeting will reconvene and consider by motion the membership of standing committees. If consensus is not achieved, then committee members will be determined by secret ballot. So we will take a recess for 10 minutes now. Okay. Inviting trustees to come join and put your names for this. And those who are online, please email to, yeah. Trustees, we have, trustees, if I can have your attention, please. Is there any trustees that would like to reconsider? If not, we will have a vote for GPC first. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 people there for a maximum of 7. Trustees, if you have made up your mind and if you have put your name up there, we are going to assume that's your choice right now, as of now. So trustees, have a seat because we will need to first vote for the GPC committee. There are 9 people in there for 7 positions. So we will first determine who those 7 people that will stay on GPC, and then the 2 people that then leave that committee will. Okay, she's moving there.
There's a chain.
So it's 9, 6, and 6. Sorry, 9, 5, and 6. No, 9, 5, and 5. Sorry. We still need. 1 second.
Switch William.
So who's missing? Or the 2 of us? Yeah, no, that's me and Zaki. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, so we have 9, 5, and 5. So the first vote would be for GPC. There are 9 names there. We will pass the ballot paper to everyone. You will pick up to 7 or 7. Okay, well, 7. Pick 7 people that you would like to have in that committee, not more than 7. I had asked earlier, but I'll ask one more time. If any out of the 9 wish to move to another committee, this will be a good time to do. If not, the names are on the screen. Please, in your votes, only select 7. to FPAC, so I just moved that. But it doesn't change anything to the GPC vote. So I think we have results, so I'll have Ms. Joseph Douglas announce it.
Mr. Chair, the members of the Governance and Policy Committee are trustees Gauss, Laskin, Nunziata, Rajakulasingam, Arts, Swiskandaraja, and P. So trustees Wong and Hastings need to move to another committee.
So trustee Hastings and trustee Wong, you can choose one of the other committees. There's one spot in FPAC left, but if you both wish to go there, that's fine. We'll have to have a vote on that, but there's only one spot.
We have, I have to go, pardon me, Chair, I have to go up because I can't.
Yeah. Totally fine. We'll recess for 3 minutes to have trustees make their choices for the other committees.
Move to finance, please. Yes, Chair, I would like to move to FPAC, please.
Okay, so we need a mover and a seconder, I guess, to accept all of these 3 committee members, trustee DWDs, trustee Arts. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. So now you will have your locations to caucus and figure out who the chair and vice chair for each of these committees are. So I'm going to ask Mr. Joseph Dowers to indicate where they would go for which committee.
Thank you. Members of the Finance, Budget and Enrollment Committee will join Craig Snyder in the far corner of the room. Those are, you have trustees Rajwani, Hassan, Didovitis, Lee, Ehart, McLean, and Wong. Members of the Governance and Policy Committee, trustees Gauss, Laskin, Nunziata, Rajakulasingam, Arts, Swiskandaraja, and Pay. If you could go to the committee room A. And members of the Program and School Services Committee, trustees Hastings, King, Dawson, Lolka, and Williams. If you could stay in this corner. Leola Pond will join members of GPC, and PSSC will be director designate. Thank you. Dawson, trustee Dawson in this corner. Thank you. GPC in committee room A, and members of FBAC in the far left corner of the room. And during this time, you would elect your chair and vice chair of these committees. Vice Chair, Trustee Rajakula Singham. The Program and School Services Committee Chair, Trustee Williams. Vice Chair, Trustee King. Thank you.
Thank you, trustees, and congratulations to all the chairs and vice chairs of the committees. We are now moving on to the next item on the agenda. We have audit committee members now. There are 2 members for audit committee. So we will ask for nominations. Self-nomination is encouraged? No. Trustee McLean, are you raising the hand to say that you're interested?
Yes, I'd be interested in serving on audit.
Okay, thank you. Any other trustees interested in audit committee? Trustee Wong? Okay, so we have Trustee Wong and Trustee McLean. Anyone else? Seeing no one else? Following process. Seeing no one else, can we have a mover and a seconder to appoint Trustee McLean and Trustee Wong? Trustee Laskin, Trustee Rajwani, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Congratulations, Trustee McLean and Trustee Wong, on your membership to Audit Committee. We move on to Parent Involvement Advisory Committee. We will need to appoint 1 trustee to serve as the PAC, on the PAC for the term ending in 2025, November 2025. Trustee Didavidis? Anyone else interested? Any other nominees? Okay, seeing no other nominees, can I have a mover and a seconder to appoint Trustee Didavidis to the PAC committee? Trustee Pei, Trustee Goss, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Think we move on to CACs. Okay. Yeah, so we are moving each of the committees' reconstitution part separately because there's amendments in there. So if I can get, before we appoint members, we would need to move these motions to about the committees. So let's move the motions related to the committees first and then move to include members. So we will move on to the first one, Urban Indigenous Community Advisory Committee. Can I have a mover and a seconder for this motion? Trustee Arts, Trustee King, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Remember, we will come to nominees afterwards. We are just moving the re-establishment of the committee and the appointment of trustees. Okay, moving on to the next advisory committee. TDSB LGBTQ plus Community Advisory Committee. Can I have a mover and a seconder to re-establish and appoint 2 members? Trustee Arts, Trustee Goss, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Alternative School Community Advisory Committee. This is part of the motion, right? Is it? No? No, this is not. Okay, sorry.
So it's all the committees that are slated for review this year.
Okay.
So there'd be 6. Yeah.
So we'll do this and
Sorry, I don't know. You'll have to tell me. I don't know if the amendment should go first or I don't know if it matters, the order.
So we will constitute these committees and then move the amendment. I'm advised by governance to do that. So somebody to move it, and second, re-establishment of Alternative Schools Community Advisory Committee. Trustee Arts? Anyone else? Trustee Datovaris? Okay, all those in favor? Yeah. Yeah, we're moving the motions now. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried, thank you. We move on to the next advisory committee. Black Student Achievement Community Advisory Committee. Can I have a mover and a seconder to reestablish? Trustee Williams, Trustee King, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried, thank you. Moving on to E, Community Use of Schools Community Advisory Committee. Someone to move to second. Trustee Arts. Trustee Dawson, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. I'm not too sure why you're doing this individually. Okay, on name change. Okay. So this one is Early Years Community Advisory Committee. So if we can have a mover and a seconder to reestablish the committees. Trustee Arts. Anyone else? Trustee Gauss. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Environmental Sustainability Committee Advisory Committees. Someone to move and second. Trustee Wong. Trustee Arts. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, it's carried. Thank you. Equity Policy Community Advisory Committee. To move it. Trustee Gauss, Trustee Arts. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. French as Second Language Community Advisory Committee. This is where there's an amendment, right? Yeah. So do they make an amendment now? Somebody has to make the amendment now, right? Yeah. Who has the amendment? Okay, Trustee Williams, do you want to move your? Okay, we'll get to the floor first. 1 second. Sorry. Yeah. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Trustee Arts, Trustee Williams. Okay, it's on the floor. Any discussion on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the motion is as seen on the screen, and it was consistent with the recommendations at French as a Second Language Community Advisory Committee to change the name of the committee, consistent with the French department and the goals of our multi-year strategic plan, to rename the committee the French Student Achievement Community Advisory Committee, and also to amend the terms of reference.
Thank you. Can I, and it's being seconded by Trustee Earhart. Any discussion on the amendment? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment? Anyone opposed? Okay, the name change amendment carries. Now we move on to the amended motion. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Now we move on to the next committee. Inner City Community Advisory Committee. Can I have a mover and a seconder to reestablish? Trustee Hassan? Trustee Gauss? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. I think that's the end of advisory committees. Now we have a motion that's business arising on this. Go ahead, Trustee Arts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for your work, and thank you to Michelle Monroe for all of her input and guidance on this. So this year, earlier this year in January, the board adopted governance procedure for community advisory committees. And part of that is a review of the committees and to look at them, and some of them were established almost 20 years ago, and really this is the first time we're going through this kind of deep review. 3 of the review reports were presented last month at PSSE, and a lot of questions came up about what kinds of recommendations could be made through this type of a review. So we consulted with Michelle Monroe on what these could be in terms of not just a template review of the committees, but and a yes or no will reconstitute them, but to look at is a community advisory committee advising the board actually the best format for our advisory committees. There's lots of different types of reference committees, staff committees that would serve the needs or could serve the needs of some of our committees. We've had new committees established over the last number of years, and so now there's quite a bit of overlap between committees and their goals. And so a deeper dive into committee mandates and the format that we have committees, I think would be helpful to trustees, would give us more information, would be helpful for those advisory committees. And the last point, we have the maximum number of CACs we have for many years now, which means we can't add new ones or evolve, or we can't even consider new CACs to fit with our multi-year strategic plan or the evolving needs of the board. So this kind of deeper dive into our committees, I think, will be good for us and good for our advisory committees.
Thank you. Trustee Arts, Trustee Dawson, do you wish to speak about it?
Sure. I just want to briefly say that I did speak to the community co-chair of the Inner City Community Advisory Committee, and he is completely supportive of doing the review between the two committees. I think that the consultation piece will be critical. I wish the motion were on the screen so that I could speak to the different resolutions, but I would just leave it with, I think it's a great idea. There's such an overlap between those two community advisory committees in particular, not just with their mandates, but with the actual membership as well. So many of the members are the same, and it would be great to have us kind of all under one roof to do this work. And then, of course, as Trustee Arts explained, we're currently at the maximum number of committees. So if we were to free up one spot, if that is what the outcome of that review looks like, then it would also mean that we could establish another CAC to best align with our multi-year strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Dawson. Any discussion on this? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of this motion? Those opposed? Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. Now we move on to appointing trustees to the different committees. So if you can go back to right from the first committee and start appointing. Trustees, before we go to this, I would like to, these are advisory committees of the board, and it's important for our board to be actively engaged with these committees, and it's important for more trustees to take on these roles. And I know some trustees have taken multiple advisory committees in the past, but it's not sustainable. So please try your best to at least commit to one of the committees and commit and attend those meetings as well, because quorum and presence is much appreciated. So having said that, we'll start with Urban Indigenous Community Advisory Committee. Can we have 2 trustees to be appointed to this committee? Trustee Williams and Trustee Earhart. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Trustee Williams and Trustee Earhart, for stepping in to support Urban Indigenous Community Advisory Committee. Can we have a co-chair from the 2 of you? Is any of you want to be co-chair? Trustee Williams and Trustee Earhart, you good? Okay, so Trustee Williams is stepped in to do the co-chair role. Thank you. Okay, can we have a move? Can we move together at the end, or? Okay, we'll do all the committees and then move a motion together. Next committee is, next community advisory committee is, I'm just going by this slide, sorry. No, we just So now 2S LGBTQ plus community advisory committee. Trustee Arts, Trustee King. Okay. Any other trustees interested in this committee? Okay. Thank you, Trustee Arts and Trustee King. Would one of you co-chair Trustee Arts? Okay, good. So thank you. So Trustee Arts will co-chair, and Trustee Arts and King will be part of the committee. Yeah. And now we move on to alternate school community advisory committee, alternative schools. Can I have 2 trustees as members of the committee?
What days do the CS usually meet on? What is the current meeting
Who
schedule?
was in the committee last? Or the maybe trustees.
Who was up before? Mondays, like in the evening?
What days or how often or what days does this committee meet? Which day as well?
ASAC, don't quote me, Mondays, 4 times a year, sometimes 5 times a year
4 times a year. On Monday.
in the evening.
Thank you.
I'll put my name.
Trustee Lee has volunteered to be on the committee. Do we have a second trustee who's interested in this? Trustee Goss. And we'll need a co-chair between the 2 of you. Trustee Lee will be the co-chair for the committee. Thank you for stepping into that committee. Thank you, Trustee Lee and Trustee Goss. We'll move on to the next committee. Black Student Achievement Committee, Community Advisory Committee. 2 members, Trustee Hassan. Do you have a second member to go on the committee? Trustee King. And co-chair, Trustee Hassan. Good. Trustee King, good. Okay. Thank you. So Trustee Hassan and Trustee King will be part of that committee, and Trustee Hassan will be co-chairing the committee. Moving on to the next committee. Community Use of Schools Community Advisory Committee. 2 members. Trustee Erhard. Trustee Patel. Co-chair, Trustee Erhard. Okay, thank you. So Trustee Erhard and Trustee Patel will be part of the Community Use of School Advisory Committee, and Trustee Erhard will co-chair. Thank you. Moving on to the next committee, Early Years Community Advisory Committee. Trustee Williams. Trustees online, feel free to unmute and let us know if I don't see your hand on time. We need a second member for this committee. Okay. If you don't know how one, we'll move on later. Okay, if it's only one, it's only one. So Trustee Hastings will go on as well. So Trustee Hastings, so we will, for yes, and Trustee Williams or Trustee Hastings interested in co-chairing? Okay, Trustee Williams will co-chair. Thank you, Trustee Hastings and Trustee Williams. We move on to next committee. Environmental Sustainability Community Advisory Committee, Trustee Wang. Second Trustee D. Davidis. One of you wish to co-chair? Trustee Wang? Okay, right, thank you. So Trustee Wang and Trustee D. Davidis will be members, and Trustee Wang will co-chair. Equity Policy Community Advisory Committee. Trustees, 2 trustees for this committee. Trustee Arts, and if no one else wants to go, I'll go as well. So, and Trustee Arts, are you able to co-chair committee or? Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Trustee Arts. Trustee Arts will co-chair. All right. French as second language community advisory committee is changed to French Student Achievement Community Advisory Committee. Can have 2 members and 1 person out of those to co-chair.
McLean will serve.
Trustee, was it McLean? Trustee McLean and Trustee Williams. Trustee McLean or Trustee Williams, any one of you interested in co-chairing?
Happy to let Trustee Williams co-chair.
Trustee Williams, are you willing to co-chair the committee? Okay, thank you. Okay, Trustee Williams will co-chair, and Trustee Williams and Trustee McLean will be members. Thank you. We move on to the next committee. Inner City Community Advisory Committee. 2 members, Trustee Dawson. 1 more member. When do the meetings happen?
So committee that meets during the day. So we meet alternating from 9 to 11 1 week or 1 month, and then 6 to 8 another month. So that does make it a bit difficult for trustees that are working during the day. And typically we meet on Thursdays.
Okay. All right. If there's no other trustees interested in the committee right now, Trustee Dawson, will you be able to co-chair?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Trustee Dawson will, sorry, you want to be on the committee? Okay. Okay, Trustee Hastings will also be on the committee, but Trustee Dawson will co-chair. Thank you. Right, I think we've finished all the committees, so we are moving on to the next item on the agenda. So we are moving on to Director's Performance Appraisal Committee. So it'll be 7 members, including the chair and vice chair. So there'll be 5 members that needs to be elected. And there's a motion to reestablish the committee. So if we can see the motion on the thing. So we'll just move this first and then do the nomination. So can we move A and B? Trustee Didavides, Trustee Arts, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, so the Director's Performance Appraisal Committee has been reestablished and has been given the mandate, has been asked to be constituted by 5 trustees. So we will take names now. If it's more than 5, we will have a vote. So Trustee Laskin, Trustee Sri Skandaraja, Trustee Pei, Trustee Pei, Trustee Sri Skandaraja, Trustee Laskin, Trustee Williams, Trustee King, Trustee Rajwani. Anyone online interested? Okay. So I'm going to read the names again. So Trustee Laskin, Trustee Sri Skandaraja, Trustee Pei, Trustee Williams, Trustee King, Trustee Rajwani. So we have 6 trustees and Trustee Raja Kulasingham. 7. And so there will be a vote. So we'll put the names of the trustees on the screen if it's possible for the 7 names. And then please select 5. You can withdraw? Yeah. Sorry. Trustee Rajaglusingham is withdrawing. We still have 6, so we'll go to what? Trustee Williams, did you have a question? Sorry?
I'll withdraw as well.
You're withdrawing as well? Okay. All right. So we have 5. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no other. Just encouraging democracy. Okay. So there's 5 trustees on the list, and can I have a mover and a seconder to accept these trustees as members of the Director's Performance Appraisal Committee? Trustee Hassan, Trustee Hastings, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. We are moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is Negotiation Committee. So first we'll move A and B. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Trustee Gauss, Trustee Williams, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Now we need to appoint 6 trustees to serve on the Negotiation Steering Committee for the term ending. Trustee Dawson, Trustee Arts, Trustee King,
McLean will serve.
Trustee McLean, Trustee Williams. It's during the day though.
Can I, it's as needed, so it's not regular meetings. They're for updates, and the time is flexible. We try for lunchtime, but we try to get quorum, so it's as needed.
Okay, Trustee Rajwani and Trustee Patel. So I think we have more than 6. If I can see the names. Okay, I'm going to.
I'm happy to withdraw if there's.
Trustee Patel is withdrawing, so we have 6. So Trustee Dawson, Arts, King, McLean, Williams, and Rajwani are 6 trustees on it. Trustee Patel is withdrawn. Okay, that's Negotiation Steering Committee. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, let's go to a vote on this. Someone to move and second. Trustee DeDavidis. Trustee Hastings. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you. That's the Negotiation Steering Committee. We will move on to the next item. Okay, appointment to organization external to the board. We'll start with CNE Association. Nominations. Do I need to move the thing first? No, we'll do it together. Trustee Dawson is putting her name forward. Anyone else? Okay, yeah. No one else interested? Trustee Dawson, let's put the name forward. Can I have a mover and a seconder to appoint Trustee Dawson to CNE Association Board? Trustee Hassan, Trustee Williams, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Next, appointment to organization external to board. I don't think there's any more or TLC. So we have 2 vacancies for TLC. We would like to ask trustees who are interested in this board as well.
McLean would like to put his name forward.
Trustee McLean and Trustee Lee, Trustee Hastings, Trustee Patel. Anyone else? Patel. Yeah. Yeah, they can so Trustee Hastings and Trustee Patel are reoffering, right? Yeah. They just wrapped up. I think it's permitted, right? I think so. No?
2 of them. So
Yeah,
Trustee Laskin stays.
Yeah, Trustee Laskin and Trustee Hassan are staying because their term does not end now. But 2 trustees whose term ended were Trustee Hastings and Trustee Patel. They are reoffering. And we have Trustee McLean and Trustee Lee. So 4 trustees' names. Trustee Patel. Okay. So please choose two trustees out of the four names with two vacancies available. Two.
Everyone's there.
Trustee Nanziara? Trustee Nanziara, are you there? Trustees, if you can take your seat. Okay, we have the results from the TLC directors election. We will be able to choose two, so I'll ask Ms. Joseph Dovers to announce the.
Mr. Chair, the two trustees appointed as directors on the board of the TLC are trustees McLean and trustee Lee.
Okay, congratulations, trustee McLean and trustee Lee. We will have a motion to appoint, do we have to make a motion? It's an election, right? So we don't need that. Moving on to the next item, the last item, I think, for appointment of trustees is the Toronto Transportation, the Toronto Student Transportation Group. Can I have volunteers, trustees who want to volunteer to be on this committee, on this group? Trustee Patel,
Trustee Nunziata.
Trustee Nanziata. Okay. So one representative, one alternate. So Trustee Patel and Trustee Nanziata. Who wants to be the rep and who wants to be the alternate?
Nunziata could be the alternate.
Okay, so Trustee Patel will be going for representative, and Trustee Nanziata will go for alternate representative. Any other trustees interested in the Toronto Student Transportation Group? Okay, seeing that, can I have a mover and a second to appoint those two trustees to this group? Trustee Hastings, Trustee Arts, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. I think the last thing on the agenda is to approve the calendar of schedule for the meetings of all of our standing committees and PPC and the regular board meeting calendar. Trustee Alexandra Olka-Rodman.
I have a concern with 2 dates in October 2025. There's 2 meetings that are on Jewish holidays.
In October, trustee? Yeah. October, the dates that we are looking at is 14.
So October 8th, 2025. It's still Yontef of Sukkot.
Okay. Trustee, I'm going to ask. We'll
No.
It has to
The
advisory
GPC meeting, Simchat Torah doesn't end until closer to 7 o'clock, and GPC starts at 4:30.
That's the other one, Tuesday. Okay, so there are 2 changes that are being made, and do we need to move it? Okay, we're just changing the calendar dates on 2 items. Moving the October 8th regular board meeting to October 9th. So it'll move from that Wednesday to Thursday. And then on the 15th of October, the GPC, instead of starting at 4:30, it'll start at 7 p.m. Thank you. Trustee Pei, you had some questions? And then I'll get to
January, January 29 is Chinese New Year, and 28 is New Year Eve. Thank you.
January 29th is Chinese New Year, and GPC is scheduled. And what was the other one you're saying?
28 is Chinese New Year Eve.
28th is an advisory committee meeting, but both days, he said 20, no. Eve, he said, yeah.
28th of January? Yes. The 29th of January.
No, not Eve, Eve, New Year's. Yeah, the advisory committee dates we could change later. It's the GPC that we would need to find a different. Okay. 29th, yeah. Yeah, 29th is GPC. We could move it to 27th.
Yeah, like normally like 28 or 29.
28th.
Or like, one is.
I would suggest.
28th is a holiday as well, okay?
So we move it to the 29th.
28th.
Yeah, 27th.
Yeah.
27th is good?
27 is good.
Okay, we'll move it to 27th, so it'll move to a Monday. GPC will be moved to a Monday that. Okay, Trustee Lee, you had same.
Mr. Chair, I had the same concern that Trustee Hay had.
Thank you. We move. GPC will be moved to 27th of January instead of 29th of January. I already announced that. Okay. For the full calendar, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there are 3 changes to the calendar, which we have already mentioned. So can I have a mover and a seconder to approve the schedule of meetings? Trustee Laskin?
All 7, right?
Can I have a seconder? Trustee Arts? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. That's the schedule of all the meetings to come for this, this 1 year. Any other items? No. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Trustee Goss, Trustee DWDs, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? It's carried. Thank you very much.